what I did for my experiment was like, why does helium make your voice high and squeaky? And I did a lot of research on it, and I found that your vocal cords vibrate faster when you inhale helium, and the vocal cords get narrower. So my conclusion was that your voice gets high-pitched because your vocal cords vibrate faster.
For my project, I did which bubble gum gets the biggest bubbles. My hypothesis was bubble yum. I thought it was bubble yum because it looked the thickest. And my hypothesis was right because bubble yum was 4 inches while all the other ones were 3 inches and under. Yeah, and here is my graph. Here it shows that bubble yum is the biggest, orbit is 3, Hubba Bubba is 2, and all of these are 1. To determine which liquid would clean the coins the best, and I used pennies and quarters because like quarters, dimes, and nickels are made of the same thing.
And you use orange juice and lemon?
I used orange juice, lemon juice, Coca-Cola, and apple cider vinegar.
So what do you find out?
Coca-Cola works the best, lemon juice works second best, then apple cider, then orange juice, and then water was my control because it didn't do anything.
My experiment was about which food molds first. It took me 6 days to mold it, and my hypothesis was wrong. The potatoes, they actually molded first.
My project is on which shape of ice melts the fastest. I chose this experiment because every time I go to a restaurant and order a drink, my ice always melts down. And if I can tell them if I could have a different kind, the ice that melts the slowest, then
What I did was that I put first I put food coloring in water and tissue paper in water, and then I waited until most of the dye from the tissue paper rubbed off into the water, and then I put 3 flowers in each glass, and one with normal water, and
that's osmosis.
All right. And what is the conclusion?
Although both of our hypotheses were we were going to say vitamin D was the best, but acetaminophen was the best. And acetaminophen accelerated the celery stalk uptake while keeping the stalk physically healthy in appearance. We also learned that vinegar caused the celery to have the least amount of uptake, while bleach had the greatest negative impact on the celery stalk's physical health.
So impressive. Thank you.
My experiment was about what was the best food wrap. Well, my big question was what is the best food wrap. My hypothesis was that the Elmer spray would be the best, but really it turned out that all of them were the best. And well, sometimes there won't always be water at your house. So the way I tried to do it, a way you can grow plants without killing them. And my results were positive, but there was only one plant that grew, was the one that was with water, that's right here.
So water was the best?
Yeah, none of the Coke, milk, orange juice didn't work. The strawberries, and my conclusions were that the aloe vera does help strawberries from molding, from spoiling. My question was, will baking soda, vinegar, water, and corn kernels mixed together explode? My hypothesis was it will. And my materials were baking soda, vinegar, water, and lifestyle. That's my conclusion. This is my materials, and these are my variables. These are my procedures, the top layer. My question is, if I mix a half a cup of oil, water, and vinegar, which will be the top layer? My hypothesis was the oil because it has less density than the water and the vinegar. My materials were a half a cup of each, oil, water, and vinegar. My controlled variables is the water. My dependent variable
sugar in another. I put them all at the same temperature. I did each 3 times. I waited and observed and recorded my data. So it took salty water 4 minutes and 2 seconds to boil. It took sugary water 5 minutes to boil. Then it took regular water 4 minutes and 25 seconds on my 4 minutes and 25 seconds.
So I put out my 7 liquids. I put out water, milk, apple cider, acetone, tea, vegetable oil, and soda. And then I recorded how much each one evaporated. My hypothesis was that acetone would evaporate the most, and it actually did. And I also thought that vegetable oil would evaporate the least. But then I noticed that milk just got bigger by time, and then it formed a little circle of some
What will happen when you mix a half a cup of each salt, vinegar, and baking soda? And I thought it would explode, but it didn't explode. Because, like, in the first order that I put them, it didn't explode. But when I combined it in other ways, it was. When you mix laundry detergent with liquid hand soap, will it explode? My conclusion was my result was that my hypothesis was wrong because it didn't explode. But my result also was that it became a lot thicker and it changed into a very pretty color.
My conclusion is I noticed that thinner substances had better results and thick substances had almost no reaction since the dry ice wasn't able to sink.
So, what's the conclusion?
This is the conclusion. I noticed that thinner substances had better results. Thick substances had almost no reaction since the dry ice wasn't able to sink. My question is, how does dry ice affect
Where
different
is the question?
substances?
Oh, right there. It's very
My title is, which is a better conductor of electricity? My question is, which item, a rubber spatula, a metal spoon, or a piece of aluminum foil will lead or conduct a balloon to move with static electricity? My hypothesis, I think the foil will conduct or move the balloon the most. My experiment, my independent variables are a metal spoon, aluminum foil, rubber spatula, and a metal spoon. My controlled variables are a balloon and your hair. My materials are a balloon, your hair, and your rubber spatula, aluminum foil, and a metal spoon. My procedure, rub a balloon on your head for 30 seconds. Remove the balloon from your head.
My experiment was I basically put disgusting bananas, which were really rotten in here, and they were really disgusting basically. And I stuck all the bananas in a bottle, and I put a balloon on top of it, and it turned out like this. But the problem was a bunch of people squeezed it, and it didn't turn out well, and it would be better if I used more bananas, small bottle. But my question was, what would happen to a balloon if you put it on top of it? My question was,
Which brand of diaper is most absorbent? Out of Huggies, Loves, and Pampers, Pampers was the most absorbent with 4 cups. Then Huggies was 3/4, and then Loves was. The question was, what will make a penny the shiniest? Mouthwash, lemon, soapy water. And my conclusion was that the soapy water made the penny shiniest, and my hypothesis was wrong. My question is, how do you filter water without a filter? And my conclusion was that my experiment did not work because I used the wrong kind of glass.
This is Maya. So, my question is, will water transfer from one cup to another? My conclusion is that the water will transfer from one cup to another.
how?
So you get cups, then you put water with one, skip one, put water in one, skip one, put water in one, then about strips of
My
paper towels up
question
there.
is, what affects your teeth the most? Coke, tea, or coffee? And my conclusion was that the Coke stained the eggs the most, tea stained the least, and my hypothesis was correct. Because my hypothesis is that Coke sustained the eggs. It didn't work.
Each time you were faster with the gum? Each time? Wow, that's very consistent results. Very good.
What's your
Okay.
What is your conclusion?
My conclusion is that this experiment did work. 4 out of 6 people did perform the work faster. And gum does help you
That's each other.
That's a neat
More
one.
gum for the school, Mr. Bye.
I have three. A normal, spaceship, and a fighter jet.
Ah,
My conclusion is that
water tension, and the question was how many paper clips can a water tension hold? My hypothesis was at least 25, and so my materials were paper clips, a bowl of water, and tweezer. My controlled variables were paper clips, water, tweezer.
My question is, what is the effect of oil spill on marine life? And my conclusion is my hypothesis was actually right. And my hypothesis is that I think that the dolphin will not be able to breathe anymore when the oil gets to the
if aspirin would help plants grow, and it did not help it. And in my conclusion, adding aspirin did not work. Something that I would do differently was to add something different to the plants, and it would affect people in the world, because if they're adding aspirin to a plant, they would know that adding aspirin would not help.
What effect does the law of conservation of energy have to do with the launch of a projectile? I was going to put a projectile from a trebuchet, but it's too long and it would...
My problem is that we wanted to see if the solar furnace cooks better and what time, and if the temperature affects how hot it gets.
okay, and what's your conclusion?
Our conclusion, it worked best at 1:00 p.m. because there was more direct sunlight.
Okay.
There is a lot of acidity in our water ecosystems. So my experiment was to study different impacts of increasing acidity on the heart rate of Daphnia. And in conclusion, I would have to do more testing because some of the Daphnia were already dead by
Well, the purpose of this experiment was to measure the pH of 5 different water sources using 2 different pH measuring methods. One was an electronic pH meter, which is this one, and one was using the test kit. And then I tested the nutrients in the water and checked if they had a relationship. And in the end, they did not have a relationship.
So there were no relationship between the two?
No, there were not.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
My project was about what does Coke do to your teeth. I found that it deacidifies your teeth. So after I did the experiment, which is putting an egg into a cup of Coke for 72 hours, which is 3 days, I found that the egg came out very soft and squishy because it had no calcium in it.
So it made the egg go without calcium. It sucks all the calcium out. All right. Thank you.
My project was on how music affects plant growth. And so what we did is we planted wheatgrass, and we put music next to it, different types, classical, heavy metal, and one with no music at all. And we tested to see if music makes an effect in plant growth. And our results came out that the classical music grew 25.5 centimeters, and the heavy metal grew 23 centimeters, and the plant with no music grew 23 centimeters.
Other episodes is that more filter feeding fish are affected. This was my hypothesis also.
And okay.
But I also found that filter feeders school in larger amounts of population. So you would have to do more research into this if you really wanted to get accurate studies.
My problem was I was trying to find out what the effects of gamma rays are on plant growth. And through my studies, I found that they do have an effect on plant growth. However, the effect is negative. It will decrease the plant's growth by quite a bit.
My problem was my question was, do animals have a preference of food? And so I decided to test it on my cat, and my conclusion came out to be that
when I set out the plates, my cat would always go to a certain one first most of the times, and that was salmon. So my hypothesis was supported by the project, and I put some fertilizer. I just put some little water so it can set in and wait for a few hours. I tested 3 times. So after I let it set, I just put a lot of water so it seems like it's raining. And then I tested all the water for pH, nitrate, and
Problem is
phosphate.
when people want to like go out and they want to charge their phone, they realize that there's like no charge left and they really need it. So they could just put it on airplane mode and it will charge faster. Like on airplane mode, I found out that from 0 to 99 took 1 hour, and the one that's not on airplane mode was 0 to 76.
Wow, how did you come up with that?
I tried some. Some people say that it does charge faster. Some people say that.
So you proved it does charge faster.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.